The Red Sox did a 0.33. 0.3.
That's bad.
Okay, 0.3.
What were the NESN 360 streaming numbers?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I did not check the streaming numbers. An excellent question by you. But I think it speaks to sort of where they are at the moment on multiple levels. And last night was a game that you were, and here's why I'm bringing this up today, plain and simple, Jimmy, is that if you are a Red Sox fan, last night was a game that you probably should have watched or would have watched. Chris Sale facing the Red Sox. They traded him to the Braves during the offseason. In the past, we would talk about something like that for days leading up to it. He's going to start against his former team. Sale won a World Series here. As Alex Cora had said, he threw the first pitch of that season and the last pitch of that season. His first 2 years in Boston were excellent. The last 5, a borderline disaster. But Chris Sale was a World Series winner with the Red Sox. He faced them last night, 6 innings, struck out 10. Nobody watched. Nobody cared. And to me, that, again, speaks volumes about where the Red Sox are. Which brings me to now the bigger picture with the Red Sox and how damaging I think the last week has been. If you remember, when we had Jared Carabas on a week ago, he said that the Chicago Cubs series had rekindled his interest in the Red Sox, that they had a good series against the Cubs. They won 2 out of 3. The Giants came in here. The Red Sox won 2 out of 3. They went 4-2 on the homestand. Cora was asked about the homestand and said, well, you lost the finale, but it was a pretty good homestand overall. He says it wasn't a pretty good homestand. It was a great homestand. We played good baseball, and there was some reason to be optimistic. You know what the Red Sox have done in the last 6 games since that homestand?
Yes.
What have they done, Jimmy?
Since Carabas was overly positive, the Red Sox are 1-5 since Jared Carabas said nice things about the Red Sox.
That is correct. And when I go further, here's the other part that should really concern you. Should concern the people over at Fenway Park. Not only have they gone 1-5, in those 6 games, the Red Sox have scored 15 runs. And 9 of them came in their 1 win. So in their other 5 losses over the last week, they've scored 6 runs. 6 freaking runs.
1-2-1-9-2-0 runs. Terrible, Tony. So unacceptable.
To your point, they lost 3-1 to the Giants, 5-2 to the Twins, 3-1 to the Twins, 4-2 to the Braves, 5-0 to the Braves. They've hit 2 home runs in the last week. They both came in that 9-2 win.
Thank goodness we have Vaughn Grisham now.
So from a marketability standpoint, you know what the only thing worse than a losing team is?
A boring team?
A losing team that doesn't score. Now again, pitching is good. We like pitching. I'm taking nothing away from the Red Sox pitching staff. Even Pivetta, after the first inning last night, only gave up 1 more run. Although, that's sort of like saying, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how'd you enjoy the play? But nonetheless, you get the idea that, you look at it and you say, you've got to do better than that. You've got to give me something to dig into, to look at from an entertainment standpoint that's going to draw viewers and listeners. The product over the last week has sucked. So let me ask you this. Jimmy, do you regret the trade of Chris Sale on any level?
No, it was probably time for him to go. But the idea that he's being successful on another baseball team and basically the Red Sox are paying Atlanta to pitch, in this case, against him, is upsetting to me because I don't like Vaughn Grisham, what I've seen of him. But would Chris Sale work here? Yes, but it was time for him to go after his tenure the last few years had been a failure.
So I said this at the time Sale was dealt. I still feel the same way in that I'm okay with them. We were all done with Sale, is the point, Jimmy. We were all done with Chris Sale. 5 years, he hadn't pitched in many games, 17-18 with an ERA over 4 since the World Series here. That covers 5 seasons, 17 wins in 5 seasons. He basically gets you the same number of wins as a reliever if that, over that span of time. 17-18. But you know what the bad part of it was? That the Red Sox felt like they had to trade Chris Sale because he wasn't going to win here and he was doing no good for them here. That was a salary dump in part, although they ended up paying a good chunk of it, as you pointed out.
They paid to get a bad prospect.
I mean, it's really, when you think of it, the message it sends to the fan base to trade away Chris Sale is a horrible message. And this is where they are. They're now back to basically being a 500 club. The worst thing you can be, 500 and boring. And the last week has been boring. They look like they were picking up some energy there for a little bit. The Washington Nationals are coming in here for the weekend. Kudos to you if you can tell me 5 guys who play in the Nationals. Good luck with that one. Meanwhile, the Bruins and the Celtics will be playing playoff games. The Red Sox are going to continue to howl in the wilderness, and no one is going to listen to them for the foreseeable future, for at least the short-term future. Chuck in the car. Chuck, what do you got?
Hey, I agree with everything you're saying, Tony. Like, I grew up a Red Sox fan, like, young in the 90s. Aaron Bleepin Boone was kind of my first, like, big heartbreak. And then, we enjoyed a lot of success. And I've really not paid attention since they traded away Mookie Betts. That was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. But I think, like, the Red Sox at this point, we're back to, 60s, 70s, 80s, where they just don't matter anymore. No one cares. And it's because the ownership has given us the exact message that they don't care. So, I'm a 36-year-old guy who's, like, doing a million different things. I dedicate every Sunday to the Patriots. I dedicate, playoff runs to the Bruins, and that's about all the time I got. And the Red Sox aren't giving me anything at that age, at this point in my life, to even pay attention to. And when I have kids, I don't even know if I'll ever it's not going to be a big deal to bring them to Fenway anymore. They need to sell the team. It'll never happen. I get it. The Fenway Group's too big. It's just it's going to be another 30 years. I feel like before they see them become what they were in the early 2000s when I loved them.
So I'll tell you what, Chuck, thanks for the call. This is one of those questions, too, that I wonder about with the Red Sox, because I can't tell you how many people call and say that when Mookie Betts was traded, that was it, that was the end of it for them. If they had kept winning, would you have still watched? And I think the answer is yes. So I don't think it was the trade of Mookie Betts. He's not the first great player that the Red Sox have lost and fans have come back. To me, it's got more to do with the deterioration of the team. If they had gotten good players back for Betts and they had continued to win and they were in better shape than they are now, I think you would watch. You would still lament the absence of Mookie Betts. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not telling you shouldn't be upset about it. I think the thing that allows you to focus on it is the fact that you suck. The team sucks. They're just not that good. Further, they're not that compelling. And I mentioned the home runs a little while ago, 2 home runs in the last 6 games. They're 1-5. They got them in the same game. It was Rafaela and Devers in the 9-2 win. That's it, 2 home runs. They strike out a crap ton. And again, I'm giving you the bigger picture view now because they faced good competition on this trip and they got smoked. Smoked. And frankly, offensively, they weren't competitive in a lot of the games. So they go up against good pitching. They can't score. Their pitching overall has been pretty good. I'm not telling you they were out of those games in Minnesota because they were in them. Last night, they were pretty much out of it from the very beginning. But one of the things that can make you compelling as a team is offense. You know what good hitters cost? Money. A lot of it. So I've joked about this. I need another team to sort of sink my teeth into.
Oh, boy.
There's going to be another team that we're going to have to sort of keep tabs on. It might not just be one, but I do have to expand the horizons of this show a little bit, Jimmy, and find some events or highlights or developments or just singular things that happen in a game. Again, highlights.
It is the baseball hour.
Correct.
Meaning all of baseball.
That catch my attention. So we'll continue to take your calls. I see a couple of you lined up. We'll do that. And something that I should say, I don't want to say made my eyes pop out of my head last night because that's not fair. I've seen this guy do things like this in the past. But there were a couple of things that happened a little bit south of here that should catch your attention. We'll catch you up when we come back on the Baseball Hour.
It's gone. See ya. Into the second deck. 5-1 Yanks.
You know, Michael, I think we might have just broke a record. That was over 120 miles an hour off the bat. Thank goodness I wasn't talking tonight because that got out of here quick.
I should apologize in advance. I'm sorry to do this to you. The difference between the superstars in Major League Baseball, the big names, like the high-priced players, they're just different talents than everybody else. It's that simple. And I'm not telling you the Yankees are going to win the World Series. The Dodgers might not win the World Series. But those elite guys can do things on a night-to-night basis that few other guys can do. Now, at the end of the day, a home run counts for one run, and then any other additional men that are on base. I don't need to tell you that. You already know it. But there is something about the ones that are hit hard or hit out of the ballpark that make us all go, ooh. Ooh. Did you see that? Holy crap, that was a freaking missile. We're human. We like to see people hit the ball far. We like to see them throw hard. We like to see them test the limits. That's the whole idea. Again, baseball's destroyed a lot of this with the steroid era and now with the, max velocity guys because you got everybody throwing 100 miles an hour. It's not that special anymore. So the strikeouts, not that special anymore. There's all kinds of strikeouts in the game. It has started to creep back in the right direction. But that home run by Giancarlo Stanton last night, if you've seen the highlights, I've seen longer home runs. I've said this in the past about Stanton. I don't know that I've ever seen a guy who hits it harder and farther than this guy. The home run he hit last night was 120 miles per hour. It was actually like 119.8 or 119.9. The hardest hit ball in the major leagues this year. 4 of the top 5 are either Stanton or Shohei Ohtani. That's it. Bullets. This home run he hit last night was a freaking bullet. What a smash. And if it's not it, now look, Stanton's not even that good. But I still think he is one of the premier, when I say power hitters, I'm not talking about like the number of home runs he's hit because he's been hurt a lot. I'm talking about sheer raw power. It's like playing golf. Everybody wants to hit it far, right? Half the time you don't even care if you get a par or a birdie. All you want to do is smoke the driver. It's sort of like it's one of the human things that draws us to a sport or a game. Baseball sucked a lot of the fun out of it. The Red Sox certainly have. They don't have anybody who can hit the ball like that. Devers can come reasonably close.
Tyler O'Neill can.
Not like Stanton. For that matter, the Yankees have 2 of them.
3.
Who's the third?
Judge.
Oh, my God, I forgot about him.
Soto.
I forgot about
Stanton.
Judge. All right, so that's 3, correct.
All rise, Maz.
Well, I was thinking Soto. I totally forgot about Judge, which just goes to show you. What else happened last night, Jimmy? Play it.
Deep drive, left center. Myers back, track, wall, see ya! A long home run for Soto. Just like that. 2-1 Yanks.
Wow, 440 feet. Juan Soto, his 9th of the year.
The other way, Maz. The other way. That's where that home run went. The other way.
Left center field. Monument Park at Yankee Stadium, basically. 440 feet, left-handed batter. Juan Soto this year in New York. And this is an easy contrast to make because, again, the Yankees paid out the nose for Soto, and they're going to give him a big contract, too. They're going to keep him. Soto this year in 38 games. 338 batting average, 437 on base percentage. That is the best in the game. His OPS is 1,023. That is best in the game. His OPS plus, which gets Tyler Milliken to cover himself in butter, 1,023, best in the game. I'm sorry, that's the OPS. The OPS plus 190 means he's 90% better than the average player in the game. Total bases, 85. He's number one in OPS plus, number one in total bases, number one in hits. And last year, did you know, Soto played in every game. 162 games. He played in them all. That's one, too, that makes me look at it and say, well, there's a guy who wants to play every day. That I like. Now, could the Red Sox have acquired Juan Soto?
Yes.
Of course they could have. Of course they could have. They had enough to make the deal in terms of prospects. They have enough to pay him.
Also, Tony, Juan Soto, first in the majors in RBIs, second in walks. You know who's first in walks, Tony? Aaron Judge.
So there you go.
They're getting on base, too, and they're driving them in.
So, look, I don't know what the Yankees are going to win or the Dodgers or anybody else. I know this, though.
More than you.
When there are certain guys that step into the batter's box on those teams, let alone guys who take the mound, because they've had injuries, too. But when those guys step up, I do say, ooh, I got to see this. And there's a compelling personality there. And again, I say personality or persona. There's a star there that anything he does makes people pay attention, and it becomes a talking point or something to read about or a highlight to watch. There's all of those things. The Yankees are still worth watching. That's the part I'd be most frustrated about if I were a Red Sox fan. And look, they may get there in the longer term, but you're going to have to wait for it. The Red Sox could have made it happen faster. They certainly didn't do anything to help their cause in the last 4 years under Chaim Bloom. Took way too long. They got a couple of players in the draft, we think, but we don't even know. We think there were a couple of kids coming, a few maybe. Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, who's the one I'm forgetting? Kyle Teal, the catcher. Those three guys could all be here in roughly a year, let's call it.